तू चलता चल तू चलता चल तू चलता चल.
First of all, hearty congratulations on your recommendation.
Thank you.
And this was Vanisa's third attempt.
Yes, ma'am.
Blog writing. And was it JAG entry or other entry?
I'm CDS entry, CDS 2 2021.
Okay, CDS entry. And from which board?
17 board, Bangalore.
17 is Bangalore.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So, starting off, tell us how did the motivation to join the defense services come from, and when it all started?
Ma'am, actually, firstly, it started in class 10th. I'm from Kendriya Vidyalaya, so I have seen my friends' parents, they were in the army. And there was this poster in my school. It was written that colleagues share food and wingmen share faith, FATE. So that was it when I got attracted towards it. But then we did not have NDA entry then, so I went for my law. Then after law, I decided that I would go through JAG entry, not CDS entry. But then I started giving my CDS as well after I was done with my law. So that's how I was attracted to it. And then I got more attracted to it because I was in Pune. So Pune, we have NDA, we have CME, we have Southern Command. So I used to see all that. So I just got attracted to it, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. So, and how did the CDS preparation start immediately after graduation? How did you prepare for a written examination? People are keen to know.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I started in 2020 when I was in my final year of college during COVID. So we had a lot of time after our online lectures. So I was also studying for UPSC Civil Services, which also helped me to study for CDS. And ma'am, for English, I was not very good with grammar because obviously we tend to forget the basics of it. I was good with English, but not grammar. So I used to download the online rearranging of sentences, then what is pronoun, what is noun. And then I used to practice that almost twice a week before CDS, 1 month before CDS, because current affairs, I used to do it every day. I used to read newspaper every day in the morning. And I used to go through Vision IAS, there's a PDF that comes out every month. So I used to read that only related to what comes in CDS. That is polity I was good at. I was very weak at geography. So I used to go through India's map as well. What are the rivers, from where it starts? What are the tributaries? What are the mountain ranges? Then for defense news, I used to randomly Google the defense news. What are the missiles? Because usually the questions are tend to be repeated. Pinaka was asked, I think, twice in CDS. So such questions I used to note it down while going through the previous year question papers. I used to Google it, and I used to read it every day after making my notes. So that's how I prepared for CDS. And 10 days before the exam, I started with the mock tests. That too, free mock tests. I never bought any mock tests. I used to just go through random websites and give mock test. And then obviously previous year question papers, I used to practice those as well again and again. I used to do that.
Okay. AFCAT is also approaching in the month of August and CDS in September.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
What advice do you wish to give them? The research appearing in a month or so.
In September, yes, ma'am. I know, ma'am. I would just give the advice that score maximum marks in English, because I did not have maths because I applied for OTA. So try to score above 80 in English, and for that just practice previous year question papers. They ask similar questions, and do not get confused between and grammar. Definitely grammar. 10 marks always there is grammar. What is pronoun? What is adjective? You should know that. So just Google what it is. Do that, and in the last 10 to 15 days, give mock tests and analyze them. That's it, ma'am. That's it. You should be able to score well.
Yes, definitely. Now, coming to the part of after clearing the CDS examination, you had you said this is your third attempt. So,
yes.
Can you compare what happened in the previous 2 attempts and this particular attempt?
So, ma'am, my first attempt was in December 2021. That was JAG entry. That was in Bhopal. I got screened out in that attempt. That time I hadn't joined No Frills Academy. So I just practiced a lot of psychological tests. Randomly, I just practiced. And I read current affairs because I was thorough with I was doing my UPSC, but I spoke a lot in my GD, but it was not material, like not valid points. Most of them were invalid points. That time I never realized it. But when I came back home after getting screened out, that time I realized it. I did speak a lot. I got a lot of chances to speak, but those were all invalid points. And I repeated many points. And as far as my OIR is concerned, it did not go that well. I did not practice OIR at all. I had just gone like that. So I was not used to the questions and I did not get the gauge of how the time goes, the 30 minutes or 25 minutes that we get. So I did not perform well in OIR as well. So after that, I came back and then I joined No Frills Academy in December itself. So I spoke to sir. So he told me that I will have to work on my physical fitness firstly. And secondly, he told me that I told him that I was very underconfident after getting screened out. He asked me not to be and just focus on current affairs, reading, and focus on my UPSC and be thorough with my law as well, because that was my graduation subject. And also, yes,
Yes, go ahead, please.
I did that, ma'am. And that's it. I just focus on what sir asked me to, these two aspects mainly. And I also saw sir screen out the screening in videos. That time sir had said that always mention relevant points, irrespective of how much you speak, doesn't matter. So then I applied that in my second attempt when I got screened in Allahabad. That was my serious, yes, ma'am. So in my second attempt, I did my OIR pretty well. I had practiced it at home. And 1 week before, sir had asked me to do that. So 1 week before I practiced. And story, I wrote it pretty simple. 6-7 lines, that's it, nothing more. And GD, I just spoke. I was in the screen out group, so everybody was shouting. We had, that is normal fish market. So I just gave 2 to 3 points that were very valid. And so then I got screened in that, ma'am. And should I elaborate on the Allahabad attempt where I was not recommended?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay, so on my first, and after getting screened in, I was very nervous. So I was confident, but I was very nervous. So that in all the 3 tasks, that is psychological, psych, GTO, and interview. So that got into me. So I was not at all calm. I used to fumble all the time. So in my psych, I was pretty able to do pretty good in SRTs and all, SD. But stories, I think I could have performed much better. But and mainly GTO. So in GTO, what happened in group discussion, I was not able to give out many points or good points as well. I was not able to gauge when to speak, when not to speak. And that happened in both the GDs. But I that time I thought I did pretty well. But when I came back, that time I realized that I did not perform well in GTO as well, in GD as well. Then in GPE group planning exercise, ma'am, I was not able to complete my solution there properly with timings and distance. So I think because of that, I was not able to do well in GPE. And in GTO, ma'am, I was a very passive passive member. I did help everybody. I did help, but I was not able to again gauge when to speak, when not to speak, what to speak, because everybody was just giving ideas and everybody was just implementing it. So I just went with the flow. That was a mistake I did in GTO. Narration was very good, ma'am. Narration I did pretty well. And individual obstacle, again, I was only able to complete 6 of them. And it was pretty cold. So I was not able to, my stamina was pretty low. Sir had already told me my stamina, I had to work on my physical fitness. So that was it in GTO, ma'am. And interview again, sir asked, the interviewing officer asked me maths questions a lot. And I'm not good at maths. So, but those were basic questions. But since I got very nervous after he started asking me maths questions, so I was not able to answer correctly. And he knew that, okay, now this person is pretty nervous. Now I'll ask her the same questions again and again. So he grilled me on that as well. And then because I could not answer the maths questions well, so I also did not do well in my personal questions, because I had already made up my mind ki ab to ho gaya. Now I'm not getting selected. So in personal questions also, I realized he wanted reasoning for everything I did in my life. Why did you take commerce? Why did you not choose arts? Because I was going to do law. So you could have just taken arts and done that. Then I was not able to answer. I was like, sir, I took commerce because I just liked accounts. But I never pondered upon it. Why did I take commerce? So then he asked me, okay, fine, what was your favorite subject? Then what was the favorite teacher's name? So I told him all about that, but then he again grilled me on that question, which I had not thought about it ever. Like, okay, I thought I would be able to answer, but I was not able to answer well. I did answer, but not well. So that is why at the end of all the 3 rounds, I knew I was not going to be recommended and I had not performed well. So then I came back again and I spoke to sir. So I told him all about this. So he told me, keep working hard on the same aspects that I told you. You have not done well in those aspects only, and don't be underconfident or nervous next time. So I kept working on those, ma'am. Then on my third attempt, I got recommended from Bangalore.
Now tell us about this particular attempt, the recommendation attempt, right from the screening part. The people,
Yes, ma'am. So, we reported almost 74 girls reported on the first day, and 34 got screened in on the first day. So we had a very OIR was a bit confusing. Some part was a bit confusing, but I was able to, I was able to do it. Not an issue, but could have done better, but that is okay. So I just focused on my story. So the story was very blurred. There was this man who was wearing a lab coat and he was doing something with the machine, and there were two three people standing there. So I just made a normal story on how he is a student of biotechnology and he wanted to pursue his master's from MIT University in USA. So how he worked upon that. I included more actions this time. I included more actions in the story. Last time I just included 2-3 lines of actions and I was done. I included 3 to 4 lines of actions in this story. And this also I wrote a pretty 7 to 8 line of story. That's it. I did not fill the whole page or anything. Half a page and I was done. And in the group discussion again, it was a repeaters group. So it was a fish market again. So they divided the group into 2. I narrated, yes, one more thing, ma'am. In both my Allahabad and SSB attempts, for narration, I used to get done with my narration in 30 seconds. So they never stopped me. Like other girls, other candidates, they were stopping. Like, okay, done, move forward, because they were taking more time. So I always completed my narration in 30 seconds. All the points I covered in that 30 seconds. And I never mentioned action first, like what was the action, because in screening we have to write what is the topic of the story, that is action. So I never mentioned that in my narration. I just started the story directly because I did not want to waste time on that. So, and I gave the narration pretty confidently. That was good. And GD, I never started the GD. Other girls just started it and they divided a group into 2. I gave 2 valid points. That's it. And the officers were like, okay, next group now. So I just gave valid points, that is did not speak much. So I got screened in, 34 got screened in. So that was a screening. And second day we had psychological psych. So ma'am, the pictures were very same, almost same kind of pictures were coming again and again. So I always had the same type of story. So I tried to make it a bit different, but I couldn't help it since we did not have much time. So, but I made all basic stories. Like sir asked us 7-8 lines and I was done. Basic stories that I could connect with myself or not, depending on the story, depending on the picture. So, and in WAT, I was very weak at word association test. The sentences do not usually click me what to write. And if they did click, it was usually, pretty long sentences. So 2-3 words used to be just gone. So what I did this time was I wrote pretty short sentences, whatever came into my mind. I did pretty short sentences and I just wrote the word which I know I missed. So in the end, we get, I think, 20 more seconds to flip the page. So in that 20 seconds, I used to write the rest of the words or sentences. So this time I did that. And yes, I was not able to complete WAT wholly. I did miss some words in between. So that happened. And SRT, out of 60, I completed almost 56 SRTs I completed. And in SRTs also, I wrote many actions, like action, comma, this action, comma, this action. So not in sentences, just comma, comma, and I'm done. So I consciously wrote more actions in that. What will I do in that situation? But it was pretty logical, as sir always mentions. And in SD, self-description test, so there were so for that also I did not write much. I only wrote 5 to 6 lines for teacher, for parents, for friends, only 5 to 6 lines. I did not fill pages in that. And SD, I made sure that if I'm writing about my teachers or my employers, I would mention more of my academics, work profile, and extracurriculars. I won't mention more of a personal thing there. But when I'm writing about what my friends or parents think about me, I usually mention personal things in that, how I'm approachable, how I'm a good listener. So in that way. And also in weakness, I had seen videos or sir, but after talking to sir, I did not I wrote what my weakness was, honestly. So there are times that I tend to be rude, so I wrote that that I tend to be rude sometimes, and how I'm working on it, that also I wrote in my SD. So it doesn't matter if you write those things, according to me. So that was the SD. Psych went well. The first day was pretty good, ma'am. So should I continue with the GT group task?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, in GTO also this time I was pretty confident. I was very calm. Like I was having fun this time. We'll see whatever happens. I'll give my best. So in GD, the first topic was India-China relations. So in that I chose, so we had 3 leads. One was the defense aspect, second was the trade aspect, and third was the general international affairs. It was very general, the third point. So I took up the trade aspect because I think that I had more points in that. So again in GD, it was a fish market. Nobody was letting each other speak. It was a repeaters group, and that usually happens. So I used to just say that, please, ladies, please, chess number this, may I please speak? So as sir told me, and if they let me speak, then I spoke. If not, then I let them complete their points, and then I spoke. So I never shouted in my GD. And I also made sure that I always heard others points, what they are saying, and I also connected their points with my point. In both the GD, I did that. So in that way, that sir, the GTO, he knew that, okay, I'm listening to other candidates as well. I'm not only going on with my points. The second group discussion was how working women affects the following: family relations, children's upbringing, and third was financial aspect. So I took how it affects the children's upbringing. So again, I made sure by telling my points, I gave examples from various aspects, from my personal one, not from my personal life, but others examples I gave from the world. So, and after that, I also again I connected my point with others points, and I also connected my point with the other 2 links that we had, that is the financial aspect and the family relations as well. So I made sure that I connect everything. And also at one point our group discussion was not going in the tangent, it was going haywire. They were not focusing on the topic, so I made sure that I bring the group back to the main point, that the 3 links that we had. So this also happens, so I just did that. And I did not speak much, but I just spoke 4 times maybe in the first group discussion, second group discussion 3 to 4 times again, and that to valid points, and again crisp points, short points, because when people were speaking longer points, the candidates used tend to cut you. So I only gave crisp 1-liners, 2-liners. That's it. And if you connect your point with other candidates' points, they tend to listen to you as well, because we are connecting our points with their points. So that is why. So that is what I did in GD. And in GPE, again, I completed my written plan. And I did the same way that sir had mentioned in the book, the columnar form. And this time I mentioned everything: distance, time, and clear languages. In the end also I mentioned where will we finally meet, because we had to go back by 7 o'clock. And the written part was very good. I completed within 7 minutes, 6 to 7 minutes I completed it. We get usually 10 minutes to write it. So when I was done with it, so I just look at the map and so okay, how will I put up my points in those 2 to 3 minutes. In my mind, I just repeated those points which I had. in the group planning exercise again, nobody was listening to each other. And at one point, the GTO was like, "Ladies, are you even following what all of you are saying?" So we all agreed we were not able to do that. But again, one of the candidates did take an initiative to speak one by one. But again, it did not happen. Everybody was shouting again. So we did not come to a common conclusion. I told my points. If I felt something was not right according to me, so I mentioned it once or twice maximum. I did not repeat it again because they were not listening again. So, and in the finally, one girl was chosen to present the group plan, and the GTO asked us if anybody disagreed. So 3 of us disagreed. So he asked us, okay, what are the major points that you have to add on to it or amend it? So I told my point, which was a valid point. So he was okay with it. That was GPE. This time my main focus was on the written plan that we had to write. And ma'am, moving on to the progressive group task. Progressive group task again. This time I was an active member from the start, and I gave many ideas, but the group wasn't implementing it. So I just went with the other people's ideas because it was good enough, because it was workable. So I just went with them because finally our goal was to reach to the end till the end. So if they give good ideas, I made sure that we implement them. So if a person is giving certain idea and the group is not listening, so I pointed the chess number out. Ladies, let's listen to chess number this. She's giving a workable idea, so let's implement that. So there were times that we did that and we were able to move forward when we were stuck. And whenever I did not get any ideas, I helped the other team members. I held the plank. I helped them tie the rope. I made sure it is stable. So I always help the team members, irrespective of if I had the ideas or not. And that the same for the half group task and progressive group task as well. In the half group task, two candidates were always moving forward, and we had to always be behind. So we were fine with it. We were not arguing about that. We just gave our idea standing from behind. Okay, do this, do that. Let me help you and all. So because there was a point when in progressive group task, when GTO says that, okay, 2 of you can move forward. So there used to be a little, not argument, but who will go forward? The girls voluntarily did not go forward. So the GTO once told us that you do not have points to stay back. So after that, the girls voluntarily moved forward. So in half group task also, we did the same thing. Whenever I had ideas, I gave. If not, I helped the group in general. And this time in individual obstacles, that was narration also we had on the first day. Again, I fumbled a bit in narration, but I gave all the valid points. The topic was Naxalism. So I mentioned everything: red corridor, internal threat, greyhounds, and how to cope up, what are the ways to eradicate it and all. I mentioned all of it in 3 minutes, and 2.5 minutes I was done. So, but last 30 seconds, I just concluded the whole thing. So that also went.
Did you find drastic difference in your previous attempts when you said that you were not precise or you lacked stamina in doing, let's say, individual obstacles? What change did you find then? In this particular
so after coming back, I used to work out every day for 1 hour to 1.5 hours. Every day, irrespective of how much I have to study or what I have to do, I worked out every day, and that improved my stamina. So while the plank is actually very heavy, the plank. So last time I was not able to pick it up properly. So this time I picked it up normally because I went to the gym this time. So I was able to hand over the plank easily. I was able to tie it easily. I was able to hold it easily. And even in individual obstacle, this time I did. So 2 are optional. So GTO asked us not to do those. That is tiger leap and double ditch. So usually we get an option to do it, but this time a GTO said, no, you won't be doing it. So after doing 8 obstacle, you can repeat the obstacle if you want. So I did all 8 and I repeated 1. So this time my stamina had improved. And so even after doing 8, I was not tired, but 3 minutes were up. So that was again a plus point for me. And my group knew that I was physically fit. So that is why in command task also I had an upper hand. So they did call me because they knew that I'm very good at handling all the materials there. So in command task also we were 9 people. We were 9 in our group. So maximum time a person was called was 3. So I was called 3 times, and baki everybody were called once or twice. So that was pretty good. So because I built up my physical capability and my stamina, it also helped me in command task and other group task as well. I did not realize it in Allahabad, but when I did the same thing in Bangalore, I realized it does make a difference. Even in the group, the people see that, okay, this person is physically fit, so I'll call her or him. Because in command task, they have to give their ideas anyway. We just have to help.
But the general acceptance also comes in.
Yes, ma'am. General acceptance also comes in. Okay, she is fine. Yes, ma'am. And
knowledge-wise, how did you improve yourself? You are more precise. How did you? You said you pointed out valid points. Gave valid points.
Ma'am, they were very in India-China relations also. I gave 2-3 points about our neighboring countries as well, how they are affected, and in turn how India is affected. Because of the China's trade policies, the neighboring countries are inclined towards China and not India, and how India is in turn affected as well. So I did not give, if I was not sure about a particular fact, I did not mention that fact. I gave a general statement. So I made sure that I did not say anything wrong also. I said everything correctly. And I did not repeat my points again. If I said one point, okay, done. I'm done with that point. I did not repeat it again, just for the sake of saying it. Just for the sake of showing that I'm participating in the group. I just said it once. That's it. That way I increase my increase the preciseness of the content that I had.
Okay. Now interview part.
Yes, ma'am. My interview lasted for about 30 to 40 minutes, and this time my interview went pretty well. I was confident in it. So he again asked me the same question. When did you decide to join the Indian Army? So I told him in 10th I was attracted towards the defense forces, but I always also wanted to do law. So I went for it. I went for my law in class 10. So he was pretty convinced with it. Then he asked me, okay, why commerce? Again, he asked the same question. This time I had thought about it. Why did I take commerce and not arts? So I gave a valid reasoning. Why did I do that? I said, because that time I was inclined. My father is an LLP as well. So he asked me to take commerce because corporate law had a lot of scope. So that would also help me in my law. So that is why I took commerce. So again, he was pretty convinced with that as well, because that is a valid logic. I gave logical answers this time. I was sure why I did what in my life with respect to my career. And then he also asked me, why didn't you join a national law university, and why did you go to a university in Maharashtra? So I also gave a logical answer. I did not have a good rank then, and I had a good rank in MHCET, that is Maharashtra's law entrance examination. So I preferred to join a college in Maharashtra. Then again, he asked me, okay, why didn't you give CDS after getting your BA degree? Because we get 2 degrees, BA and then LLB. So after taking BA degree, we could have just left the college and joined, and I could have given CDS after my third year as well. So I gave a logical answer that I wanted to complete a professional degree, that is law. That is why I chose to give CDS after graduation, not before it. So he was okay with the answer as well. And after that, he came to several personal questions as to what is your weakness, what is your strength. So I gave him 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses. No, that is it. And he asked me about international. He did not ask me much about current affairs. He just asked me about one international affairs question, that is, what will be the future international affairs, or what will the future world affairs look like, what will affect it? So I gave 3 pointers. Firstly, Indo-Pacific will have a major impact. Secondly, space law, cyber law, technological law will also impact how relations work. So, and thirdly, Asia will be a dominant region and not the Western countries. So I gave my 3 crisp points, whatever he asked. I did not elaborate on it, and he did not even ask me to elaborate on it as to why are you saying so. So I just gave 3 pointers. That's it. And after that, that was the, again, he asked me about my sister, my family, what my father do, and what my sister does. So that were general questions, ma'am. My occupation, about my sister, my father. Okay, they were pretty general questions. And after that, in the end, he asked me about if I wanted to share anything with him. So I had written in my hobbies that my hobby, I had written just one hobby, that was exploring movies. That's it. I had not done anything else. So I told him that I could at that it was a very light humor. So I just told him that I'll just tell him about my favorite series. So he was pretty interested in that. So he asked me about my favorite series as well, how many seasons are out, so where can he watch it. So that was a pretty light thing in the end. So that is how my interview went. It was good. I could, and one more, I couldn't. He asked me about the various arms of army as well. What are the arms that Indian Army has? That I knew well, so I answered. And he also grilled me upon why do you want to join Indian Army when you couldn't even you won't be able to argue or study law in the Indian Army. So why not just join a litigation firm or a corporate firm? So I was able to answer that also pretty well. I just and because I had written, I had, as I told you, ma'am, this time I had written on all my decisions, the reasons. Why did I do this? Why did I do this? Why did I take law? Why did I choose to give UPSC? Everything I had written it down this time, and I had thought over it. And then he asked me about army aviation. So he asked me about the various planes and or the cargo planes that the army has. Something, but I was not. I couldn't recall what was the answer to it. So I just told him, "Sir, I'll get back to you in conference. Right now, I'm not able to recall." I guessed once, but then I thought it's better to say that I'm not aware than just guessing randomly. So he was pretty fine with that. Then again, once it happened that while I was talking, I mentioned this sentence that Russia was a part of Asia, and he just took that sentence and he just asked me, what, Russia is a part of Asia? And I'm like, yes sir, it is a part of Russia. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm sure. Then he told me it is not a part of Russia, it is not a part of Asia. I'm like, I'm 100% sure. I said, sir, I'm 100% sure it is part of Asia. And we had a bit argument in that. Then I told him I'll get back to you in conference. So I went back and checked. It is a transcontinental state. It is a part of Europe and Russia and Asia. So it is a part of both the continents. So this happened in the interview. So that's it, ma'am. That was the interview. Pretty about myself based on PIQ. That was a 40-50 minutes. And finally, the conference. So they asked me many questions in conference. Firstly, when I entered, so I'm from Mumbai. So they asked me what the vice president asked me what is happening in Mumbai. So I told him about the CM, Mr. Eknath Shinde, and all of that. And I also told him why it is happening, the political scenario that was happening in Maharashtra that time. So then he asked me, okay, what do you think about a particular name he mentioned, but it was related to sedition law that was currently going on. That government is putting everybody in jail for posting something or the other on the Facebook, on social media. So he asked me, what is your opinion on that, on sedition law, because I'm a law student. So I told him, I answered that as well. And then he asked me why army again. He asked me the same question, I gave the same answer. Then he asked me, okay, what if you don't get recommended this time? So I have applied for my LLM colleges. So I told him that I'll be joining a LLM college and also be trying for my other SSBs that are lined up. So he was pretty, and I will also be giving CAPF. So he asked me about what are the services in CAPF. So I only knew 3 that time. So I told him whatever the three services I knew, and he was okay with it. Then he asked me this thing, and then he asked me, what if you don't ever get recommended in the Indian Army or any defense forces? So I told him, sir, no issues. I will go back to preparing for civil services, and I'll also take up my LLM that is currently lined up. So that is not an issue. I will go on with my regular law firm litigation job that I will take up later. So it was fine with that answer as well. So it went on for, I think, 7 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and that's it. That was the conference. Then the result were announced, and 11 of us got recommended. 11. That was the conference.
Okay, we see a very balanced life coming forth from your side, and very motivated, but not desperate. People just ask, even Nehru sir, this question, the line between
Yes.
interest in joining defense forces and the desperation. And people tend to fall in depression if they do not get into. But you have a very balanced life that you projected. Now I give this floor to Nehru sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Vanisa. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
So, Vanisa, what I remember when we first spoke, in fact, we have not spoken very many times actually.
No, sir, we have spoken only 3 to 4 times, I guess.
Yes. So, the first time I spoke to you, I had what memories I carry. Is that day ये वनीसा तो सेलेक्ट तो हो जाएगी, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. इसका फिजिकल फिटनेस ठीक नहीं है और वो इसको फिट करना पड़ेगा. एंड आई वाज little bit in doubt कि whether you have the motivation to do it or not. वो मेरे को डाउट था, तो मैं कहा कि कर लेगी तो फिर ये रिकमेंड हो जाएगी, कोई और इशू नहीं है. So that was what I had in mind, and you did focus well on this because you were motivated enough to join the defense services, and you made it. So I mean, nothing unexpected, nothing surprising as far as I am concerned. Very, very expected line things, results have come. It could have come even better. As I go through your chat now, I realize कि तुम unnecessary self doubts वगैरह लेके चलते हो अभी भी छोटा मोटा.
Yes, sir.
इनको खत्म करो यार. You are good enough.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है ना. मैंने तेरे को पहली बार भी बोला होगा ना कि you will get recommended.
Yes, sir, you told me the first time.
हाँ, ठीक है ना. अच्छा, अभी क्या है, one piece of advice I have for you. ये आपका ना जैग एंट्री, इसके लिए भी जाना.
Yes, sir, I have it on 4th of August in Allahabad.
ठीक है ना, उसके लिए जाओ, उसके लिए जाओ. Your law knowledge is also good, and you see JAG entry will give you faster promotion prospects. Vacancy कम रहता है, but कोई बात नहीं. You are a bright girl. Go with greater self confidence now. Even your this Bangalore SSB 17 वाला एक्सपीरियंस से भी और कॉन्फिडेंट रहो. बिल्कुल फर्म, क्लियर, बात बननी है, बनेगी भी बात. ठीक है. नाउ दैट यू गॉट टेस्टेड सक्सेस ऑलरेडी, तो कॉन्फिडेंस नेचुरली इट हैज गॉन अप. वो रख के चलो. नो कॉम्प्लेसेंसी, रिमेन फोकस्ड एंड गो फॉर इट. है ना. जैक को भी छोड़ना नहीं है, उसको करो.
Yes, sir. I'll be going for it.
दैट इज व्हाट यू शुड डू.
No, so the group activities helped me a lot to gain self-confidence because I used to practice with them group planning exercises, and they used to share their experiences. So that the group coordinators and all were pretty good. So that helped me a lot.
First class. Okay, good. Thank you. And what else?
So this is the only advice that I have. And so I forgot to mention one more point. The GTO also asked me that if you get into civil services, then how will your law background help in the civil services, that if you become IAS? So GTO will ask certain questions that is related to your background. So that is what. So I answered it in a pretty practical or humorous way that, sir, since most of the politicians don't implement the schemes, so I could find the loopholes in the law and do that. So he started laughing. Then he's like, okay, fine. So that was the one point I forgot to mention.
That is fine, but one more advice this reminds me. तेरा इधर फौज में हो जाए तो बढ़िया है. फौज ज्वाइन करो. नहीं होता है, don't go for civil services and all that. Your sister is in Germany, na?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Get out this thing. Go there. Yeah. It's all, you see, 1.6 lakh people have left this country in 2021.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So you think they are all the dumbos who have gone there?
No, depends on the interest as well. So
Yes.
I don't know.
Why? Because, they would have reason दिखता है ना उनको कुछ क्यों जा रहे
Yes, sir. That is there.
That is why. Your sister is there. You can make out how things are different.
Yes, sir, they are different, very different.
ठीक है ना. Much more organized society. People care for each other. Social, all those things are there. A lot of difference is there. We need to improve a lot. Yes.
Yes.
And all of us can play a role, but once again, the line which we are good, the direction which the country is taking is not good. That's the problem.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है ना. Fine. So I have nothing else for you, Vanisa. You're open to questions from others.
Oh, yes, sir.